Welcome to Massive Passive Cash Flow, the podcast that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth. Here's your host, Gary Wilson.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's podcast, the Massive Passive Cash Flow podcast. This is for you. Typically, you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you're a professional, dentist, engineers, pilots, runs the gamut, who invest, and also the agents who serve the investor clients. And what's interesting is we have a group called Global Investor Group. We're now 25, almost 2,600 strong. We just launched 3 months ago. You can go online if you're an investor, just go online and Google GIG Global Investor Group, and there's 31 groups across the country now, and they're being run by global investor agents. These are agents I've trained to work with us and investors, okay? And we've now got about 70 of them across the country. We just started that also. That's pretty new. So have no fear. There's an investor out there, an agent out there that knows how to help you. And if you want to check it all out, you can go to my website, go to realestatewithgarywilson.com, and there's free books there for you to read and catch up on things. But also you can go in and look at some of the other content for free. Go to the community site and find yourself an investor agent who's trained to work with you. They only can get the designation one place. Okay. So in any case, today we have a special guest. Erin Bradley's on. She hails from Winter Park, Colorado, but also we call ourselves lone wolves or traveling woolberries, if you want to call us that. We're mobile, agile, and we got to this place because we worked hard and pursued our passion. So Erin, instead of me spoiling a surprise, I want you to just be yourself and tell your story, because I think you're going to really resonate with a lot of our investor agents who are listening to this right now, you know?
Yeah, awesome. Well, first of all, Gary, thank you for having me on. I really admire what you're doing and the value you're bringing to the community at large, and definitely feel like you're a brother from another mother, and I appreciated having you as a guest on my podcast as well. So anyway, the backstory is I always say it's a little bit of a hot mess. It wasn't pretty for me in the early years. I was always wanting freedom and flexibility. I lived in Europe for a couple years after college, kind of living like a hobo, scraping pennies together. And I fell into the mortgage business in 2006 and won 100% commission in 2007 because I thought that, being self-employed is the path to freedom and flexibility. Well, first thing that happened was that I did so, went 100% commission with no savings, no safety net, and no systems or game plan to speak of. So by the summer of 2008, I had promptly gone broke. I was more than $35,000 in credit card debt. I was maxed out on all my credit cards, and I got a referral for a client. I was so excited to have a client to go deal with, to talk to, try to earn their business. But I didn't have enough money for gas to get me across town in Denver, Colorado in the summer of 2008. And so I actually rode my bike across town 5 miles in the heat to meet this client at a Starbucks. And I got there early because I wanted to make sure that the sweat would dry off before the client got there and I could try to look professional. And anyhow, the client unfortunately got there early as well. And he walked up to the counter as my credit card was being declined for a $2 cup of coffee. And he's like, "Are you Erin?" And so I'm like, "Hey." But the problem is I didn't know which credit card had $2 on it. So I just lied and said it was my debit card and I was going to have to call the bank. I mean, it was just so embarrassing. And the point is, he bought my coffee. I remember thinking, this is like a nightmare. I suck at this. I'm at financial rock bottom. What was I thinking? This doesn't feel like freedom and flexibility because you can't really enjoy your freedom if you can't afford to enjoy your freedom, right? And so I remember calling my dad for some advice. And he basically said, if you think you're going to be good at this, just do whatever it takes. And so, I did. I probably opened another credit card and bought internet leads, whatever that meant in 2008, and hired coaches and read books and attended seminars and just kind of went all in and eventually gained some traction. And before you know it, the business takes off as it inevitably does if you are willing to stick with it and do the work. And next thing you know, business is doubling. Things are going really well. I'm feeling really grateful. I'm paying off all the debt and I'm feeling really lucky to be so busy. But before you know it, I'm working 24/7. So 7 days a week, I'm pregnant with my second child. I have a 2-year-old at home and I am drowning. I am suffering. I'm basically feeling like I'm surviving success. And I know a lot of people understand what I'm talking about, where you've achieved some level of success in your life and your business, but it just doesn't feel right. You're lacking this fulfillment or this peace because you feel like in order for you to survive success, you just have to trade your time and your energy and your ability to be present with your loved ones. And so I just continued sucking it up and surviving success, convincing myself it's fine, just be grateful. You're so lucky to be busy and be making money. But it just didn't feel right. Like neither end felt good to me. The stress of being hungry was no less painful than the stress of being overwhelmed and burning out. And I nearly quit the business a number of times before, hiring more coaches to get the support I needed to scale that mortgage business, which I still run today. But along the way, I started teaching classes to real estate agents, and I started getting involved in mastermind groups and accountability groups. And I came to learn that I wasn't alone. There's a lot of highly, highly successful people that on the outside, it looks like everything is sunshine and rainbows for these people. But behind closed doors, they'll admit that they're in tears because they're suffering, because they're overwhelmed, burning out, and, working 24/7 in exchange for this idea of success as we define it, right? So pursuing freedom became this journey for me personally about how do you create predictable growth in your business so that you can plan for success, you can expect it, so that when you achieve the business success, you can actually enjoy it and that it supports the lifestyle vision you had when you started, which was an idea of freedom and flexibility. Like how many successful people aren't even giving themselves permission to enjoy the very freedom they were seeking when they started? They don't take a vacation. They don't turn off their phone. They're checking email at 10 o'clock at night and 6 o'clock in the morning. So, real estate investing has always been a part of our journey. And over the years, I've been lucky enough to help as many people as possible get clear on how you want to live your life. How do you want to feel? How do you want to be? And how do you want to show up in the lives of people that matter to you? And then what are you going to do? So first, how do you want to live? Then how do you design your business to support that lifestyle vision? So anyway, the journey unfolded for us where we ended up buying lots of real estate, and we bought a place up in a ski town in Colorado called Winter Park. And eventually we moved there with our kids. And now currently we've been traveling the country for 5 months in a small RV with a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. We currently are taking a time out from the RV. We're cheating. We're in a condo now in Destin, Florida, taking a much needed pause. But I'm grateful to the real estate investing, and I'm grateful to the coaches I've had that helped me to scale that business so that I can continue to create predictable growth in my business while still enjoying the very lifestyle I was once envisioning when I started. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
That's awesome. And I tell you, you hit on a couple of key points there. And one of them is like what your dad said. He said, if you believe you're going to succeed, then you give it everything you've got. You operate with passion. And I know for me, that's been one of the hallmarks of successes. I would literally cut off retreat. Like the old saying, have your plan A, and plan B is C plan A. And I would literally sell. I've built 7 businesses, and what I learned was I actually succeed more when I sell the previous business than start the new one, instead of trying to do too many things, because you just can't be as effective when you're trying to manage all this stuff, and not alone be a good parent or spouse or friend or in your case mother, daughter, sister. It just, there's only 24 hours in a day, and those days start to go by pretty quickly. The other thing too is just the discipline to be persistent and not give up. And the third thing that really stuck out with me was the coaching. And I don't know if you're like this here. When I was younger, I really didn't. I'm like, I don't want to pay for coaching. It's a lot of money. I want to keep all my profit myself. I just wasn't making the connection that on the journey to building wealth and income, coaching allows you to grow further, faster, right, and build more. So now there's times I've got as many as 3 coaches, right? And I'm in multiple masterminds. And there were years I would literally spend more than $100,000 just on coaching a mastermind. In fact, one mastermind I was in literally cost $100,000, to one. So, but it generated for me, I can directly tie back, more than $3 million in revenue from that one mastermind. So in any case, I appreciate your candor and sharing the early years and what it's like. because the life of an entrepreneur, guys, and some of you know this, but some of you are new, it's a life of adventure. And there's times where you're running on fumes, but if you just maintain that persistence and that passion, you're going to be rewarded. It's a mathematical certainty. And so I've been rich and poor twice, right? And I've just all kinds of broken back, all kinds of things happen. But I never let it get me. I didn't get depressed. I didn't suffer anxiety. I mean, the early years I did, depression, anxiety, all that stuff. The second time around, I'm like, you know what? I got this. Been here before. This is my 5th business cycle, so I know what to do. But anyway, so I want to talk about me. I want to talk about you. So you mentioned something else. So you're now working with real estate agents, which is absolutely perfect for this group because we all invest, and a lot of us are agents who work with investors. So can you tell us a little bit more about what it is you do with pursuing freedom? Just kind of give us like a paint a picture, and because I think that's going to resonate with a lot of people here.
Sure. So Pursuing Freedom started as the title of a book that I published in 2016 on the heels of figuring out a strategy that helped me to overcome the fear of sales and build my business by referral very systematically and strategically in a way that felt easy and authentic and not salesy at all. So the issue I had and the reason I fell flat on my face, which I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with or understand, is that I hated sales. I still do. I mean, I hated anything that felt self-serving. So all the traditional sales strategies were all about, make the calls, check the boxes, write the notes, see the people, get the referrals, get the deals, and get the money, right? And so a lot of us who become self-employed are servant-hearted people. We are caregivers at heart, and we're people pleasers. And so there becomes a disconnect between doing the work we need to do to get the deals, to get ourselves, our own needs met, right? And then finding that connection to how that relates to feeling like we're giving value and we're serving others and that we're not self-serving, right? And then there's all the fear that comes along with what are people going to think of me? Are they going to think I'm salesy if I'm calling them about real estate? And so we have all this fear holding us back from taking action. And so I stayed stuck there for years. And then it wasn't until 2011 that somebody gave me the book, The Go-Giver, which is an incredible book, and I'm sure you've read it. I'm sure many people listening have, but if you haven't, you have to read it. It's an amazing book, and it talks about how the goal is to give more value than you hope to receive in payment. And so I personally developed a strategy that ultimately resulted in me doubling my business time and again. And then I started teaching that strategy to real estate agents. And I started seeing that they were having success with it. And so I'll give you the gist of it, but you can download the Cliff Notes for free. I'll share that at the end of the podcast. But essentially what it is that you realize that you need to give value above and beyond what you get paid to do. And the real estate transaction only happens once every couple of years, except with investors. Hopefully that's once a couple times a year, right? But there's other needs that need to be met. There's an awesome quote I heard in early 2020 that said, it's when you step back from the single brushstroke that you can see the entire painting. And so I think of that as it relates to real estate. The transaction is one brushstroke in the painting of our clients' lives. And so when we want to step back and see the whole painting, we need to find ways to solve their problems, celebrate their successes, navigate their losses with them and walk alongside them in all areas of life. And in order to do that, you're going to need to enlist the help of others that can serve needs that you don't serve. And what that looked like for me was using my database to reach out to my friends and family and clients to get referrals for local service providers that they know, like, and trust. And then meet those new people, these service providers in every area of life, from health and wellness, acupuncture, massage, chiropractor, dentist, OBGYN, all the way to financial services like financial planners, accountants, estate planners, living will and trust, etc., to home contractors, painters, electricians, handyman, you name it, right? There's people that serve all the needs of our clients that we don't serve those needs. And so what was happening was I was calling on my friends and family to get referrals for local service providers that they know, like, and trust. Then I was reaching out to those folks and I was meeting them and vetting them and getting a sense if they're in alignment with me. And then I was promoting them back to my database. And in doing so, I was giving value to everybody and marketing myself to my clients as the person who's got a person for everything. So really training them to think of you when they need anything. And if you're an agent serving investors, this is a huge value add, because especially if you have out-of-state investors, they don't know anybody in that town that can serve the needs in their property. And if they're local investors, why not go above and beyond and build a tribe of trusted local service providers? Make yourself the resource above and beyond what you get paid to do. The next thing you know, they think of you when they need anything in their day-to-day. They're certainly going to think of you when they hear the word real estate. And so the business just kept mushrooming, growing and growing. And I started teaching it to realtors, and then they were finding success with it. So then I put the content of the workshop that I had been teaching for 5 years into the book called Pursuing Freedom. And then eventually that turned into the podcast, where I interviewed top performing real estate professionals nationwide and beyond, to uncover the secrets and strategies that they've implemented to not only design their business to create predictable growth and financial success, but also designing their business to support their lifestyle vision. Because I found that the happiest and successful realtors, which is important, right? Like, it's one thing to be successful, but the ones that are successful and happy and thriving and energetic and enthusiastic and alive and excited, they've figured out what they're good at, and unapologetically, that's what they focus on. And so the podcast has been really fun to really just uncover the diversity of individuals that are finding success and happiness using real estate as the vehicle, whether through investing, whether through serving investors, you name it. It's an incredible industry. It's an incredible avenue to build that freedom that you're seeking and you're longing for and that you deserve. And so nowadays it's turned into free workshops. I do a lot of free workshops and trainings. I have a lot of resources on the website. And then occasionally I'll take on one-to-one coaching clients. I do some group programs from time to time. I have this motto, which I know you understand from Michael Singer's book, The Surrender Experiment and the Untethered Soul. I have this philosophy with Pursuing Freedom that I just say yes to life. So if somebody needs my help, I say yes. It's something that is my life's mission, is to help as many people as possible believe in the idea that they can design their life first and then organize their business to support that lifestyle vision, rather than let it rob you of your life. That you don't need to survive success, and you don't need to trade financial success for time freedom, or time freedom for financial success. It's both and. So if you're willing to strip through the fears and start taking action and taking steps forward in the direction of your dreams, literally anything is available to you. Miracles are possible. Radical transformation is available overnight. And I'm excited. I think 2021 is going to be an incredible year where we're going to see a lot of people recognize the fact that we don't have any control over external circumstances. So why are we living in fear? Let's go, people. Let's just go and create an amazing life for ourselves.
Yeah. It was funny you mentioned Michael Singer. So I was fortunate enough to meet him in person. I'd read his book. One of my coaches recommended reading The Surrender Experiment. And what an amazing story. I mean, you talk about building a business to, many millions of dollars. I think tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. And he's such a humble guy. And so I was, Florida's my home base, and I was down around Tampa. No, where was I? Well, somewhere not where he is. And I looked him up to see where he was, and it said he has a service like every Thursday night or something. And I'm like, crap, I'm going to go. So I drove the 2 hours, whatever, go up there, sat in his living room with him. And what a neat experience. But the whole principle is when you do let go, it's like you let go of that attachment. It doesn't mean you don't care. You care very much, and you still have that vision and the goal, and you have your plan. You're taking action, but you're not necessarily attached to any particular outcome, because it's life. Like the old saying, "Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away." So it allows you to say yes more. And I've had more success in my life by not hesitating. See, there's two kinds of people. Some people will play not to lose. Other people will play to win. Playing not to lose is not the same as playing to win. In fact, who do you think succeeds more? Well, it's the people that play to win, and those people say yes to opportunity. And I learned to do that, and I don't worry about the how. I know the universe will provide me everything I need when I commit to it. So in any case, so back to the pursuing freedom. Is there like an agent, like we've got, every 2 years, it seems like there's a rotation. 90% of the agents have vacated, and the other is more, 90% are brand new, of course, and 10% seem to survive. But is there an agent, like where in their life cycle will be good for them to meet up with you? And you have anybody come to mind, by the way, like one of your favorite students that, same thing, just demonstrates the resiliency of the human spirit,
Yeah, so the two areas that I specialize in are on both ends of the spectrum, right? So the first one are the folks that are feeling stuck, that are allowing their fear of what people will think of them, their fear of failure, or in some cases, the fear of success, right? Had their best month of their career, and they were miserable and drowning, and it sucked the life out of them, and they convinced themselves that it's okay, I'll just get through this busy month, and then I'll get back to living. And so as a result, they play small. That's fear of success. That's where we equate success with sacrifice of time, energy, and happiness, okay? So first and foremost, I love helping folks that are just feeling stuck, whether they're brand new or they need a reset, to give them the tools in my business and simplify the path to creating predictable growth in your business. Simplify success first and foremost. The second group I love focusing on are those top producers who are burning out. They are terrified with different fears. Their fear is fear of letting people down, fear of dropping the ball, fear of what people will think, fear of letting somebody else get involved in my business and messing it up, okay? There's a lot of fear. We are human beings. Fear is part of being a human being. And so with those folks, it's just a matter of helping them realize that this isn't the only way to enjoy financial success, that there is a smarter way, and helping them push through their fears to realign their business to match their life goals. And yes, I've had folks that have come to me on both ends of the spectrum and experienced transformation seemingly overnight, because it doesn't take long. Like, I don't need to coach somebody for years to help them realize that the voices in their head, the chatter, is just drowning out what their heart already knows they want or need. So whatever it is you need or you want or you long for or you wish for or you say, it would be so amazing to ... And then instantly your brain kicks in and all the limiting beliefs and thoughts get loud, and the chatter starts to drown out the wish in your heart before you've even taken action, telling you, but that's not realistic, but that would take too long, but what are people going to think of me? So there's something there, right? Like, you might be thinking, I wish I could go on a 5-month road trip, but I could never. How could I ever? Well, oh my God, I could never do that. My clients, my business, yada, yada. That's just outcome in the future that's never happened before. And in most cases, it's highly unlikely. That's just attaching to your fear and letting it hold you back from taking action. And so when we identify fear for what it is, believing in an imaginary outcome in the future that's highly unlikely and it's negative, and we rewrite that script into faith, which is believing in the imaginary outcome in the future, but choosing to believe it's going to work out. And even if it doesn't, I'll still figure it out. Once we can shift people from fear to faith, it folds. What you want without knowing how, like you said. Once you've decided, everything falls into place. The path unfolds and all sorts of unforeseen things happen. Relationships develop, people come into your life, opportunities arise. And so it doesn't take a lot to get somebody from fear to faith. And I think that it's relevant at every stage of the business and at every stage of life. It's an evolution. We're just striving for progress, not perfection. You're muted.
Sorry. So I have 2 dogs here, and they dream, and they'll start making all kinds of noises. So I have to meet them. It's crazy. But so I love that explanation. And for me, I've taught a lot over the years. I've taught about 24,000 agents in classrooms, and personally trained probably close to 4,000 one-on-one. And it runs the gamut, brand new agents all the way to senior veterans. And some of the things you described there are relevant regardless of where they are in their timeline of their brokerage, of their business, And I know for me, some of the best top producing agents spend more time with their coaches than they did in their early years. So it's like the more you progress, it's sort of like competence leads to confidence, and confidence drives you to become more competent. So the more successful you become, you seek out more coaching. But as far as the where goes, really the way the world is now, I mean, right now we're still, everybody's on Zoom. I think we'll always be on Zoom. I hope we'll get back in person, on a regular basis too. But I think the world is changing right in front of us. And so I think this now makes it possible for anybody, whether they're in New York or San Diego or Seattle or Miami, to be able to work with you. So do you take on agents no matter where they are? Like, how about Canada? Kind of tell me a little bit about how that works,
Yeah, so I take on no more than 5 clients at a time. And sometimes those are small group situations and sometimes they're one-to-one. Because I don't ever want it to feel like I'm spreading myself thin and not bringing my full attention and energy and focus to every interaction that I have. And yes, those clients come from the US, Canada, all over the place, honestly. So, I mean, one of my coaching clients lives in Australia now, and she's Canada. So, So, I mean, thanks to Zoom, the world is wide open, and I would be happy to help anybody that needs support. And sometimes it's just a conversation, and that's enough to give you a shift and put you back on the course correction to the path towards creating your life with intention and designing that life as you imagine it to be without fear and just going for it. You're muted.
Now, as far as timing, right now it's and this is going to date timestamp or interview, but it's beginning of the year, perfect time for people to seek out that guidance and the alignment. And everybody should be going, do a vision exercise, create your vision. Then you determine the goals based on the vision. Then you determine the action steps and finally a plan. So like on my team, we're actually actively doing that now. But as far as timing goes, relative to like the economy. So right now, and I'm a very positive person. I believe you can always be successful no matter what the economy is doing, but it's pretty clear we're nearing the peak of this current cycle, and it's probably going to be correcting here in the near future. We don't know when. Nobody can tell exactly when. We just know based on history, it's a mathematical certainty. So as far as that goes, how does that tie into what you do when you're teaching and coaching? Relative to the economy. I don't know if that makes sense or not, because agents shift their strategies as they should as the economy shifts. So when you're coaching people, is that taken into account, or kind of fill me in there if you don't mind, just elaborate a little bit,
Yeah, so first of all, I'm a huge fan of Gary Keller's books, and I think reading Shift would be very useful for everybody right now. I just recently reread it, and I think it's a very appropriate time to be reading that. And the bottom line is that there are always going to be people that are buying and selling real estate. And a shift in the economy is going to result in home sales happening, and people needing to sell, and in some cases, people in a position to buy. There are a lot of people, especially in the investor world, that have been monitoring what's going on in the economy and will likely be in a position to take advantage of declining home prices if and when that happens. And so it's a matter of positioning yourself to find the people that are buying and selling, and to write the story that they exist, and to keep your mindset expectant of success, and figure out how do you create value for every person you know, so that you have things to talk about regardless of what's happening to home values. And that you're seeking out the people that are in need of something, whether it's buying real estate investment properties or selling investment properties to liquidate and get some cash. The good news is this is a totally different environment than 2007, when we were approaching a major housing crash. There is tons of home equity in the existing real estate market. We didn't have people buying homes at 100% financing with interest-only loans, so that if they bought the house for $300,000, they still owe $300,000 3 years later, and now their rate's going to adjust and their payment's going to go up, and their house is only worth $280,000, and they don't have $20,000 to bring to the table, so they foreclose. That's not going to happen. We have home equity, which means if somebody goes through a spout of unemployment and they need to sell their second home, they're going to do it while there is still home equity. They might not get the amount of money out of it that they wanted to get out of it. The fact of the matter is, everybody had to put a down payment to buy the houses that they are currently living in, or if they bought it pre-2008, they're sitting on a lot of home equity. You simply can't max out that way like we did before. So there will certainly be a correction coming in the future, but I think there's going to be incredible opportunity with that, as long as your mind is right and you're looking for those opportunities and you're creating those opportunities and creating value and solving problems for your people above and beyond what they get paid to do.
Yeah, I agree. It's the last recession was my fourth one, and I knew exactly what to do. So I'm very comfortable now. In fact, I have my own brokers and we were the fastest growing brokerage company. We doubled 3 years in a row. We literally grew sixfold in the first 3 years of that recession. But it was only because I understood it. It wasn't that I'm some kind of a genius. I'd experienced it before, and I wasn't the only one. But I want everybody to just relax here and don't worry about what's coming on the road. Embrace it, because it's going to happen regardless. So you might as well embrace it and learn. Work with Erin. Join a team like my team and get all the training and the marketing and the leads and everything you need to succeed. And if you could, Erin, I want to work with you. I want to go public with this, and I think there's opportunity for us to work together because we're so closely aligned. But it's complementary. What we do is complementary. So going forward, how can anybody get a hold of you? And before you do that, if you don't mind, maybe share that first, and then we wrap up with some words of wisdom, or hey guys, right now this is the one thing you need to do kind of thing. But fill us in on how we can get a hold of you and work with you.
Okay, so the one thing I'm really passionate about is energy management. I believe that if you manage your energy first and you show up to the important interactions in your day, high energy, enthusiastic, etc., you're bringing a magnetism, a vibration that radiates out and creates a positive ripple where you actually can truly attract that you're seeking. And that starts with managing your energy. So my biggest piece of advice is do less. You're doing too much. Every single person here listening is doing too much, and it starts with your phone. How often are you mindlessly looking at your phone, overconnected, overcommitted, checking email at the nooks and crannies, checking your phone at stoplights, checking your phone while you're in line at Starbucks, checking your phone while you're watching TV and falling asleep and waking up? You got to cut the crap. You got to slow down and stop being so overconnected. Nothing is that urgent inside of your phone. If it is, your phone will be ringing and you'll be getting text messages blowing up. So stop checking your email and creating more urgency out of non-time sensitive things and allowing your energy to be drained as a result, because it's resulting in you showing up flat to the important interactions. And that's what makes the business feel like a grind. Attraction marketing comes when you start to manage your energy first and foremost. And that means you need to do less. You're probably doing too much in a lot of areas of your life. So I help people figure out the art of subtraction. In terms of getting a hold of me, you can find me at pursuingfreedom.com. Sign up for the free newsletter, because we send a Sunday strategy video every Sunday by email. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Pursuing Freedom Official. I have a closed Facebook group, Pursuing Freedom, for real estate professionals, where I share some coaching stuff there. And you were talking about visioning and things like that. And I wanted to share also that if anybody's a fan of the online programs where you can get video tutorials and all the documents and assets and tools and resources that you need to organize your business to support your dream life. I did turn one of my workshops into an online program. And if your folks would want a discount code, you can find that at pursuingfreedom.com/course. And they can get a $200 discount off of the cost of the program for the code WIN2021. WIN2021. Okay, but there's tons of free resources at pursuingfreedom.com/resources. But the Balanced Growth Program walks you through reflection, visioning, mindset, and ultimately all the way down to the nitty gritty of scheduling, tracking, everything you need to organize your business to support your lifestyle vision.
Okay, WIN2021. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I knew when our roles were reversed, I was going to reach out to you. So So I'm glad I did. I think I really appreciate you sharing not just your time, but your wisdom. What you just shared there at the last, I mean, that was pretty powerful stuff, and very much in alignment too. And I think I speak for a lot of people who are going to be listening to this, and will want to thank you also, and hopefully reach out to you. So, in any case, for everybody listening, take Erin up on her offer in the website. It's pursuingfreedom.com. Is that right? It looks like we froze there. Okay, and then take her up on the code. Okay. And meantime, God bless you and your families. Look us up. Go to realestatewithgarywilson.com. YouTube channel, the same name, Real Estate with Gary Wilson. There's all kinds of videos for you. Everything you can. YouTube's completely free, and on the website, the first 5 books were all completely free. And if you're an investor, chime in, because there's training programs there for you, and a community site where you can locate the investor agents. So, Erin, same thing. Take care of yourself. God bless, and I'll see you on the teaching circuit.
Love it. Thank you so much, Gary.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Massive Passive Cash Flow. Be sure to go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.